For a very long time, Joe Biden and Lindsey Graham have been this sort of mythical tale across the aisles of friendship from two different worlds, almost like Romeo and Juliet. And there's been a bit of fraying in that friendship recently, with Biden saying Lindsey's been a personal disappointment because I was a personal friend of his, obviously having to do with the fact that Lindsey Graham values being a hack for Donald Trump more than his friendship throughout his life with Joe Biden. So he's disappointed with him. Well, now Lindsey Graham is sort of responding. Will he acknowledge reality, acknowledge that Joe Biden won an election that wasn't even close? Take a look.
Well, I think Bill Barr did a great job as Attorney General. He tried to clean up the Department of Justice and the FBI that became a mess. The Crossfire Hurricane debacle, Durham is still investigating that. But as to Hunter Biden, you have a U.S. attorney in Delaware that's looking at tax fraud, but he's not looking at his overseas dealings, Hunter Biden's dealings in the Ukraine and China and other countries. We had banks report suspicious activity reports went from American banks where Hunter Biden and his partners were doing business to the federal government, being concerned about the potential for money laundering. I want somebody to look at all the overseas activity of Hunter Biden, see if it's compromised the foreign policy of President Biden if he gets to be president, and the guy in Delaware doesn't have that mandate. So I respectfully disagree. If we're up to me, I would take the U.S. attorney in Delaware and give him the entire Hunter Biden portfolio so he could look at everything Hunter Biden did throughout the world, which is pretty massive industrial size influence peddling. I think we need a special counsel because I worry that what Hunter Biden did may have compromised our ability to effectively wage foreign policy.
Okay, so I apologize for making you listen to that much of Lindsey Graham all in once, but that is Lindsey Graham talking, not only like saying if Joe Biden gets to be president, so he is still continuing with this myth that it's in question or that it could be overturned, but also saying, no, what we should be focusing on as a country right now is the fact that Hunter Biden did something. And like the idea that he would continue to spread this utter nonsense about Joe Biden's family when he has been friends with Joe Biden for literally decades. Anna, the reason that I want to talk about this isn't because I find their friendship to be particularly interesting. What I'm hoping is that this will help to open Joe Biden's eyes. That's who Lindsey Graham is. And Lindsey Graham was like the guy that was most likely to potentially work with you because supposedly you have this personal connection and that's supposed to be worth something, right? Well, if it's worth something to anybody, he's the guy you've known the longest and worked with for so long. Well, look at that guy. They are fully invested in all of this conspiratorial nonsense, even to the point of their being willing to end American democracy. I am hoping that there will not be this wasted 2 to 4 years like Obama had, where he seriously thinks that he can work with these people. Joe Biden needs to see that these people are out of their mind and they can't be reached.
He won't. And one piece of evidence for that, recent piece of evidence, and let me just be clear, this isn't just about Lindsey Graham. Now, will Joe Biden wake up to the fact that Lindsey Graham is a traitorous person who should be investigated for trying to dismantle our democratic process and everything that's protected under our Constitution? Yes, Lindsey Graham and people like Lindsey Graham in Congress who have enabled Donald Trump, who have advocated for tossing out ballots in battleground states, as Lindsey Graham has, should absolutely be investigated and should suffer the consequences for that. But if you take a step back and you look at the bigger picture, this, I don't even know if it's his theory of change because it's not change. This idea that he can reach across the aisle and negotiate with the very people who have been denying that he won this election, he's absolutely wrong. Like, look at the New York Times. They just recently reported about how Joe Biden was very much involved in the stimulus negotiations, urging congressional Democrats to work alongside Republicans in order to get a deal done. And essentially what he has taken from this awful stimulus package, or I hate saying stimulus because it doesn't really stimulate anything, but this so-called relief package is, would you look at that? I can get Democrats and Republicans to negotiate and come up with a bill that they both agree on. But the question is, what do they end up agreeing on, right? I mean, if you're just going to be a Democrat who encourages other Democrats to constantly concede to what corporate Republicans want. Well, I'm not interested in those kinds of deals because those deals actually hurt the American people. I think that there's this obsession with reaching across the aisle and negotiating for negotiation's sake, instead of really talking about whether the end product is in the best interests of ordinary Americans, of American workers. That's where the discussion needs to be. And I don't think that Joe Biden has learned a damn thing. I think that really, if we were to go back a few decades, Joe Biden's politics mirror that of moderate Republicans. He's not a genuine, he's not a progressive, that's for sure. And he's unapologetic about that. And what we need right now is progressive policies. Polling indicates that the majority of Americans want progressive policies to be fulfilled. Biden's not gonna do that. Nothing will fundamentally change under his presidency. That's what he promised his donors.
I hope, I think that you're almost certainly right. I think the long shot hope that I'm expressing is that if they make this intensely personal about Biden's son, I would rate that as high tier on the things that have at least a chance of getting through to him. It's not like them, like the Republicans all saying we're gonna have austerity going forward. We gotta worry about the deficit or whatever. That's not gonna get through to him. Talking about the only thing we're gonna work with is on reform to Social Security. That's obviously not gonna clue Biden into who these people are. But if they launch sham investigations of his family members, hopefully that personal element will get through to him, if anything will. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
I do want to just add one more thing. I do find it fascinating that some of the people in the media who have built their careers on the so-called Russiagate narrative, essentially arguing that the Mueller investigation was nothing, it was just a sham, this and that. They're now latching on to the Biden investigation and arguing that that's legitimate. I mean, there's been a lot of revealing moments since Trump got elected. I will say that.
Yeah, it makes your head spin. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.